So DoogieBird4430, thank you very much for the comments and for pointing out that the piece I've done on Nigel Farage is a repeat of what I've said before. I don't think it is. I think it's slightly different. And thank you for pointing out it's an appalling video. I really should think through my commentary and principles, and I would have expected better from a fellow academic. Well, thank you. For the most part, I think a lot of the videos that I put up are thoughts in progress, but it's always good to be upbraided and made to rethink. So the question of whether or not Nigel Farage is a xenophobe or a racist, I think there's a difference between the two. Xenophobia is about a fear of foreigners, and racism is, well, racism, strictly speaking, is absurd. The human race is one, and to talk about different races is nonsensical. But I think racism, as it's understood, is a negative concept. Is Nigel Farage racist? No. And when he ran UKIP, he made it absolutely clear that anybody who was involved in UKIP should not have a background in the National Front and other extreme racist organisations. The fact that a lot of people in UKIP, particularly in the management section of UKIP, were or had been involved in those organisations is neither here nor there. That's something that Farage was very clear that he didn't accept. However, he did say a number of things which are surely xenophobic. If I was asked if a group of Romanian men moved in next door to you, would you be concerned? And if you lived in London, I think you would be. You know what the difference is. He said that parts of Britain were unrecognisable, like a foreign land, that he felt awkward when he heard people speaking other languages on the train. Is that not a demonstration of xenophobia, a fear of foreigners, to feel awkward when you hear other people speaking other languages on the train? I feel excited. People who do not have HIV, to be frank, that's a good start, and people with a skill. 2014, Newsweek Europe. The Breaking Point poster. Extraordinary poster. Compared to Nazi propaganda, Farage refused to apologise for it. There are plenty of examples where Farage, if not promoting racism, is certainly guilty of xenophobia. The fact that he was even an admirer at a young age of Enoch Powell, the fellow who put forward the Rivers of Blood speech. And indeed the fact that he had a column in Breitbart, friends with Steve Bannon. His idea that immigration is a problem. Do you remember the time when he was late and he said, well, that's to do with immigration, nothing to do with professionalism. What it does have to do with is a country in which the population is going through the roof, chiefly because of open-door immigration and the fact that the M4 is not as navigable as it used to be. Well, that's a great excuse. So, yeah, I'm afraid I would I wouldn't like to suggest that Nigel Farage is a racist, but does he fear foreigners? Yes, I think he fears that this is a problem. That is what xenophobia means. So, let's stick to the meaning of words and the accepted understanding of words. Racism, as I say, is not a word that should exist, but it does exist, and it tends to mean somebody who is promoting an evil condemnation of people who are different to ourselves. That, I think, is not what Farage is promoting. But I think it is the rhetoric that has been unleashed by a lot of his activity in UKIP and in the European Parliament. I think the rhetoric of, for example, Suella Braverman standing at the dispatch box in the House of Commons and screaming invader and talking disparagingly about both Albania and Pakistan, I think that is essentially racist. When you identify an entire group of people and hold them collectively responsible for the activities of a small group of people simply because they belong to a particular national group, that is surely racism. And that is the sort of language which was ushered in by Enoch Powell and Farage, whether they intended it or not.